Never Stop Learning, week 264. We're going to take a quick look at the Dodge tool in Adobe Photoshop CC 2015. Alright, so to activate the tool, just hit the O key on the keyboard. Notice we already have it activated in the Tools panel, and now my cursor turned into a brush. Alright, so I'm going to increase my brush size a little bit, crank up the exposure so you can really see the change, and I'm just going to click and drag right in here, going over these teeth, because basically what this tool does is it brushes in the brightness for you. And you got that exposure adjustment over there at the top, so you can have control over this. Alright, so now that I took care of a couple of these teeth, I'm going to toggle the visibility of this layer, turn it off so you can see the before. Alright, turn it back on so you can see the after. Alright, so that's pretty much how this tool works. Let me get rid of this guy. Now let's go over the basics over here at the top. I'm going to right click on this icon over on the left, reset the tool, and now it brings it back to how it was by default. If you come back to that same icon, do a regular click on it, this is where you could manage your preset for this tool. So set up this tool exactly how you want it, come back in here, click on this icon, and that's going to create a new tool preset. That way you come back in here and use that exact same tool again on a future project. Alright, just to the right of that, over here, this is where you have your brush preset picker. Clicking on it once is going to allow you to adjust the size, the hardness, and you have some different presets over here to choose from. Alright, when you see this gear wheel, you could always click on that, and that's going to give you some additional options as well. Alright, to the right of that, clicking on this icon is going to bring up the brush panel for you. It's just a quick access to it. Notice over here we have some additional options, so make sure you come back in here and check those out. Alright, clicking on the icon again is going to get rid of that panel, and then we have range. I'm going to leave mine set to midtones, but if I click on the drop down menu, notice we can target the shadows and we can target the highlights. Alright, so I'm going to hit escape again to get out of that. Now we have exposure. That's what I was playing with earlier. By default, it's set to 50, but I did bring it up to 100% so you can actually see what the difference was. So let's start off again at 100%. I'm going to click and drag just to kind of paint in over here over this tooth. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to back off on the exposure. Alright, below 50%, somewhere around 30 is good. Alright, cool. Click and drag, just doing this neighboring tooth. Alright, doing a similar adjustment. And release. Alright, so that was really subtle. You might not even have noticed. But if I come back into the layers panel, I'm going to toggle the visibility of this layer and turn it off so you can see the before. I'll turn it back on so you can see the after. Alright, so there you're able to see it, but you could also see how the exposure is going to give you more control for your particular project. Alright, so I'm going to leave this guy all the way at 100%, and I'm going to turn this feature on over here. This is going to enable the Airbrush style build-up effect. So when you click on it, you're actually going to build this up. So I'm going to increase my brush size again, and just click and hold. Alright, so I'm going to go around here a little bit, and it's basically building up. Alright. Over here at the top, I'm going to turn this feature off, and I'm going to do the neighboring tooth. I'm just going to do a click. Notice I don't really see it that much, but I can drag around and continue to add the area, but notice it doesn't really build up like the Airbrush did. Alright, cool. So just to the right of that, we have this feature over here. This one's really important. It's going to minimize the clipping in the shadows and the highlights. It's also going to keep the colors from shifting their hue. Alright, so let me get rid of this layer so you can actually see how this guy works. Alright, so turning this guy off is going to allow your highlights to clip. Now, what does that mean? If your highlights clip, that means they're going to go all the way to white. So in this situation, you start running into like one big tooth. Everybody's going to just blending into each other. If you're working with your shadows, that means your shadow is going to go all the way to black if you clip your shadow. Alright, so I tend to leave this feature turned on, but you might want to turn it off in your particular workflow. The last feature you see over here, this is for a pressure sensitive tablet. When you're using that, it's going to use the pressure to determine the size of your brush. When it's turned off, like it is now, it's just going to go by whatever I have over here. Alright, so again, if you want to bring this back to how it was by default, just right click on it. It's going to reset the tool. And there you have it, folks. That's a quick look at the Dodge tool in Adobe Photoshop CC 2015. In this video, I just covered the basics. In a future video, I plan to cover the dodge and burn workflow, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on that.